Hi, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be doing an art journal page using stamps and watercolors. I'm using the Canson Mixed Media mini journal along with a stamp set from Hero Arts. I'm also going to be using a watercolor set called Color It, which has the medium already mixed within the actual brush, and I'm going to show you here. This is a set of 24 brushes, and they are refillable. So yet another cost-effective way of doing watercolors, and you can carry it anywhere you go. I'm also using water brushes in 3 different sizes, and you just add water within the chamber, and this will help in blending the colors. I'll be using StazOn Ink to stamp the images because this is resistant to watercolors. I have my acrylic blocks for the clear stamping, and this is also a parchment paper, which I like to put in between the pages. So if there's any ink run over, it won't go onto the next page. I was asked about these blocks here, which are acrylic blocks, and you mount clear stamps on them. So it works the same as would the traditional wooden blocks. And you just kind of stick it on there, and I tend to like rub around the clear stamp so that it will make a better impression. I'm making a random image stamp here, so I just pick a spot and try to make sure that I press it so I can get a clear impression. Now in this piece, you can see it didn't quite get the stamping complete due to the uneven watercolor paper, but I can fix that later. What I like about this stamp set is it has a lot of surreal images, and so I'm going to be stamping an eye right in that doorway where above the stairs. I apologize for the glare on the piece there. I didn't see it when I was filming, but I'm taking a pencil and kind of lightly drawing a pattern because I'm going to be stamping around that, and then once I'm done, I'll erase it so that way I know where I want to place my stamps. For editing purposes, I went ahead and stamped up along that line that I drew, and I just made a random pattern using every other image so that it repeats like every 3 or 4 times. After letting the ink dry, I'm going in and erasing the very fine lines that I did so that they don't show up within the image. And now for the fun part. I get to finally color. So these pens, I already mentioned earlier that they are pre-mixed, and so they make it so much easier to color than traditional watercolors, even though they might have certain limitations, but I just really like them. My coloring technique here is similar to the previous videos that I did with the alcohol markers, except I start from dark to light, but because it's watercolor, it will lighten up when I add water. I'm going to be using the water pen, and hopefully you can see there's water in there. You pretty much squeeze it and the water comes out through the end where the brush is, and I'm just lightly covering each area that I had previously painted with the marker, just to show you how easily it blends and why I start from light to dark. So as I go in, I'm just using a basic coloring technique, just putting the pigment down and then using the water brush to blend it out. Because it's so small, you really don't have a lot of room to do this unless you really want to spend a lot of time with it. But this is for fun, and this is how I like doing it. I'm going to add a little bit of color where the eye area is so that it doesn't seem like it's just floating there doing a whole lot of nothing. I'm going to stamp the sentiment now using the same ink that I did earlier in case I get any watercolor on it. In addition to blending after you paint with color, I'm also going to show you how it looks when you add water first and then you paint. I'm adding some water so that I can be able to add color, and it's okay if the color kind of lightens as you go along. It will come back. It's just that if there's a lot of water, then it kind of dilutes the brush tip. And then all you have to do is just wait a few seconds and then the color will return. It's another way to color without having to add color down first. And then you can always go back and forth, build upon the color and layers, and blend it out as you see fit. I will list all products used in the description below in case you're interested. You can see here that the marker is kind of diluted because there's so much water there, but as you work your way up, the color will return to the marker, assuming it's not empty, of course, but there you can see that it's coming back, and that's a way to control how much color you let flow within your painting. I do like how it's very flexible and you can go in and kind of blend it out if you think it's too dark, and kind of go back and forth with water and the watercolor marker. now that I got the background pretty much the way I like it, I'm going to add some details using some Faber Castell markers in various sizes. I also found these little gel pens that I'm going to use to kind of highlight some of the smaller areas. And then I will use a Jelly Roll pen in the color white to add highlights. This is where I start to add detail to those areas when I first stamped that didn't quite get the full impression that I wanted. And so I go in and darken them up a bit, and then I'll add some little details and highlights. I'm going to add a little bit of glitter and sparkle to my image here. The marker that I'm using is a Spectrum Noir Clear Sparkle, and it can blend with any water-soluble ink or watercolor. So it will change or blend well, just so that you know. And then I'm also now using the white gel pen. Ideally, you want to make sure that this is dry before you do that so that you can add little highlights throughout your image. Of course, every artist should sign and date their work. And this concludes my art journal page using Color It watercolor markers and stamps. Here are a couple of close images for you to see. And if you are interested in a more detailed tutorial, please let me know in the comments below, and I will be more than happy to accommodate. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.